Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. Our title sponsor at the Builders of Authority podcast is Go High Level, also known as GHL. GHL is the first ever all-in-one platform that will give you the tools, support, and resources you need to succeed and crush your marketing goals. Personally, I've used this software since 2020. It's been a game changer in my business and for many of our clients. If you're looking to level up your CRM and marketing game, then this is the platform to use. You can find a link for a free and extended 30-day trial with tons of bonuses in the show notes, so take advantage of the opportunity to adopt the amazing software and grow your business. Today, we have an incredible episode lined up. He is someone that I've known for over 3 years now. He and his company became a client of mine around that time, and since then, we have done business together almost the entire time, minus a few months. He also became a client of WinRate Consulting this year, so I've had the opportunity to meet him in person and build the relationship even further. He is someone that I admire and look up to for many reasons, not only what he has built with his company, but how he runs his company and what he does for his community and in family is inspiring. My guest today is Clark Briggs. He is the owner and founder of KayCo Roofing. Clark, welcome to the show, man.
And thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, excited to have you on the show. Excited for you to share your story a little bit and us dive deeper on your journey and kind of how you've built the KayCo Roofing brand. So why don't you kick it off and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with KayCo?
So my name is Clark. I have my own KayCo Roofing. We're in Jacksonville. I've been in the roofing industry since I was 19. So my father was in the roofing industry when I was 5 years old, working for a metal roofing manufacturer, and I always kind of knew I was going to end up in it. And so when I graduated high school, I went to work for that manufacturer, eventually went into sales, turned into meeting a couple key people to help me along the way, give me some direction, but ended up getting my roofing license in 2008 and then started. So 16 years now.
Absolutely incredible. What was it like getting the company started in 2008?
Scary. I don't know if anybody that can remember, was a really, really tough time. So 2008 was, fortunately at that time, I kept my job for the metal manufacturer I was working for. And I did that from the time I got my license in August, started KayCo in October. I was able to have essentially both going until May of 2009 before I eventually had to start on my own. Yeah. But it was the economy was really tough, really tough times.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can only imagine. Talk a little bit about like, as you were just getting started. So you just mentioned like, hey, I was doing, this other stuff as well, still working and then building the business too. But like, I think a lot of people get confused about what the reality of actually starting a business is and getting it to where you've gotten it over the last 6 years. So talk about some of those early moments, kind of going all in and what it actually took in order to get to where you're at right now.
And everybody kind of says, oh, it took a lot of hard work and those kind of things, but there's luck that comes along with it too. And so when I very first started, it was, I know about roofing. I really don't know how I'm going to get the phone to ring. I really don't know how I'm going to get any customers, but I know what I'm going to do once I get them. Mm-hmm. And so it literally started with, I'm sticking yard signs on the corner of streets, handing out flyers. Finally, after a little bit of time with that, I was, kind of started to figure out the realtor part of the business, started knocking on their doors. And then that's how things started, really getting going. And then around 2012, so in the summer of 2012, I was looking at this thing and I'm like, man, I've done okay. It's kind of a week to week thing. And then we had a hailstorm. And so from the summer of that 2012, where I was kind of sweating, so a couple years in, to that Christmas following the hailstorm, everything was paid and I had 25 grand in the bank. And I was, and I really, like, in that moment, I was like, think I made it now. So then, because then it just became, referral source. And so, and then being from the town that that we operate out of, those couple, those things kind of put together, help put us on the map and really get us going. So, and it's been up and up since.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said, as I literally just interviewed somebody here in person and we were talking about like the luck factor. And I think like anybody that tells you that you don't have a little bit of luck, like you can work so hard and do everything right, follow the blueprint and still it not go your way. But when luck comes on your side with the proper preparation and like doing all those things, and you're talking a couple of years in business, right, where it finally clicks. But also, I like how you talked about the multiple like lines in the water where you're like referral sources. We were doing everything with realtors. We were then doing the yard signs and stuff. And I'm also from the city, so I was taking advantage of my networking, things like that. So often people want to have like a one trick pony, and when you have a one trick pony, as you know, you're like all eggs in that basket, and then something happens there and you're scrambling.
I can remember, thinking to myself at the time, I have to get a website. Like I mean, everybody, like these guys, they survive on their websites. Like I have to get a website, and I got on GoDaddy, and I literally, I think that first site was like 5 pages that I did on my own.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
like over a weekend,
Everybody's got to start. Everybody's got to start there. That's why I tell people all the time is like,
Yeah.
you have to appreciate where you got started to understand kind of where you're at today as well, which I'm sure you've gone through a lot of that stuff. And you obviously have built, a team now and a sales team. So how was it, I'm interested to know this because I don't think we've ever really had the conversation. When did you start growing your team? And then how was it to start, because you've built this on your own and you have all the connections? How was it to start like delegating and giving away responsibility?
So initially, because sales was kind of my thing, I always imagined myself just, running the sales forever, and going on through. And so that was limiting to me for a long time. So in 2000, that same 2011, the storm hit. Ironically enough, he still works for me today, but the kid that lived next door, he was then 19, but when he was younger, I used to pay him to mow my grass and stuff. Just
That's
a good
awesome.
kid. Always trying to be out making extra money and whatever. And so finally, after during that hailstorm, I reached out to him. He was 19 years old, and just kind of said, "Hey, I've watched you, back boats in and out of the driveway at your parents' house forever. So I know you can back a trailer in a driveway. Like I have a trailer, and like I need some help." And I hired him. Then he's still with me today. And so that was part of it. And I was able to keep on the sales part. And so it was just me and him. And then then eventually it's, man, can't be driving around, making sales calls, pulling dumpsters, answering the phone. So then it was, all right, now I'm going to find somebody to answer the phone. And then it got to around 2014. So it was a pretty quick growth to there, where I decided that the sales part I just wasn't gonna be able to do anymore. Like I needed to start becoming an owner and a manager. And so I hired Kevin, who is also still with me, as you know. And so from then till now, having those two, like my advice to anybody that's starting or is building, those guys that you put in your circle, like that is super important. I mean, those I will no doubt forever say that I couldn't be here without those two.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I had swung and missed on one of those two early, I'd have been in real trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think that part is so key as well. And a lot of us that like are sales oriented people, I think we struggle with the idea of like, well, how is it going to go if somebody else is out there representing my company doing all those things? But you start to realize of like, at some point you're like, I kind of just created a job for myself that, yes, I do own the company, but if I'm wearing all the hats, it can't run without me. So I can't take vacations and I can't do all these things. And if there's no SOPs in place, like how are they going to know what to do if I'm not there? And that's a hard place to be in. And it's also one that like isn't always fun either when you're wearing every single hat and trying to juggle everything and keep it all up.
working 10, 12, 14-hour days. Well, ironically enough, Adam, kind of one of the reasons why I started is because at the time, my kids were 5 and 3, And I was traveling with my sales job, and I'm like, man, I want to be home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gone Monday through Wednesday, come home on Thursday and have to run to the office. And then maybe I get a 3-day weekend. Um, and I was like, man, I want to be home. Like this is fun. The kids are 5 and 3, like they're into cool stuff, playing sports, doing gymnastics. And so then all of a sudden, a few years into KayCo, I'm thinking, man, I started this to be home, and now I'm 10, 12-hour days, Saturdays. We don't go anywhere. It's like, I'll meet y'all down at Disney.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got to start your day. I'll see you later on in the afternoon. So that's when it finally hit me. Again, that kind of 4 or 5 years in, it was like, man, this is not what I did this for.
Yeah.
And so you start kind of releasing some of the responsibilities and trusting, trusting the training that I would give to Kevin and to Jonathan for them to be able to handle these things.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think that's a key aspect, is one that I kind of just like went through this year as well, of like, and I'm still kind of going through as we're rebuilding, but as like I look back, and I was talking with someone the other day, I'm like, man, it's kind of funny how I told myself I'd get out of medical device sales because I didn't want to work long hours and travel. And what did I do for the last 3 years, 4 years? I did almost the exact same stuff. And now that Murphy's a little over, 1 years old at this point, it's just like, man, I got to get back to like my why, my purpose of why I did this. Because at the end of the day, like, I know I have a skill set now. I know I have the brand and the clients to, I can, I don't need the business to be growing at all these different cylinders at every single period of time. I really built this, and I want this to be a lifestyle that I can live and my business be around it, not my business run me.
I can totally appreciate that. And that's when that finally hits you as a business owner, and you finally start to, you have to, I think the part that really hits is that you have the ability to train somebody, but you have to be able to trust. So you're looking for an end result, and you have to be able to trust that person to get to the end result, but not doing it exactly your way, step for step for step for step. Here's the training. Here are the SOPs associated with the training. However, right, you're not me. You're not going to say the exact same things, do the exact same things. And so I think that when you get to a point where you understand that you can release that kind of control to somebody and trust them to truly to get the job done, but their way, man, that's a great bridge to cross, because the relief that you start to feel, and then you can start to have some freedom and enjoying, like you say, kind of enjoying the fruits of your labor, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, and I think what you just said there is so interesting, because so often we're like, we're the best salesperson ever, or we're the best whatever person ever. And then it's like, yeah, we're really, really good. But imagine if somebody just did that. Like, we're really, really good when we're doing like 17 different things. And we also don't do, because of our knowledge and our experience, we don't usually do it the right way. Like, we get the job done, but we usually make it a lot harder and do it. And then we try to train on that. And this is where I screwed up for like a year and a half, where I was like showing somebody, this is how I do it, and expecting them to do it my way, and realizing that when they actually did it their way, after I went back and forth with them for 6 months, it actually worked better their way, because I was training them to do it my way, which was not always the right way.
I will say, with Kevin specifically, Kevin was in the tire business, and we used to take our trucks down there, get oil changes, tires, whatever done. And when I started looking for somebody in sales, and he reached out, he started. I rode with him, and really, really early on for me, and I feel really fortunate that this kind of came over me, but really early on, I realized that, like, this isn't going to be exactly the way that I do things. And it's like, and it's so kind of became hey, you're responsible for sales now. That is like, so that's what we're going to use now. So it's like, I've showed you what, the basics here. I've, taught you about the roofing industry, showed you the components, all those kind of things. At this point, now the numbers are going to speak for themselves. And it's true, because we think, we're the best production guy. We think we're the best sales guy. We think
Yeah. It's always funny when like you get proved wrong and you're like, man, if I would have just not been so stubborn and just allowed what needed to happen, it would have been saved a lot of stress and anxiety and probably made more money in the process.
100%, 100%. Yeah, no, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. That's funny.
So talk to me a little bit about kind of like growing the business and things like that. And obviously, like you mentioned different points. You said, when you went full time to 2012 with the hailstorm, and then 2014 as you start to bring on, Kevin and start to build out some of the company. Talk about some of like the harder parts in business that like most people just look at KayCo as like, hey, as we're talking now, just the growth, and we continue to see you guys grow, right? It's obviously not all rainbows and sunshine. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. You know, it isn't because, you know, like you said, on the outside, it looks like rainbows and sunshine. And we always want to put that out, right? So I mean, that's what we want everybody to think. But I mean, man, we make mistakes. I mean, we do. I can remember, you know, a driveway that was a little on the steeper side, and as the guys are loading the roof into the dumpster, they were loading it in the back, and it lifted the tongue out, it rolled down the driveway and smashed up. It ripped off the whole side of somebody's car, right? So,
Yeah.
and so now it's like. Those kind of little things, and that doesn't happen much, but again, it's those really weird things where you really sit down and you say, man, this just ain't it's just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
um that's temporary.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it is, because it's just an emotion in the moment, but and I think a lot of pressure comes in addition to kind of some of the mistakes and the goofy things that happen like that. You kind of say like, all right, well, how did I let everybody down? Like, how did I put us in this position? Like, how did I allow it? How did I allow that to happen? Because ultimately it's my fault. And then how do we change it going forward so that it doesn't happen again? But then you have, um, people come and go.
Hmm.
You hire what you, again, and kind of a, in addition to being the best production guy and the best sales guy, you think you're the best HR guy, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then you miss on somebody, and you say like, man, now I got to start over in my office because she wasn't the right one, or, you know, or as we expanded our production department, man, we miss on a guy that just didn't care to get up every day, and those kind of things. But to me, I end up, I know you don't want to, but I end up kind of taking it all personal.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like, man, how did I miss? Like, that can't, I don't like for the people around me to miss, and so I can't miss.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where. So in the end, people, that would probably be the most frustrating part,
Mm-hmm.
about the growing process, is that you for me, it was grow and then add the person, not add the person and then grow into the person.
Mm-hmm.
That's the route that I chose to do. And so when you grow and then add, and then bring the person in, and then you miss on the person, yeah, that was
It's double
tough.
whammy.
That's exactly right. Yeah, yeah. And so that's where I'll go back to, having Kevin and Jonathan, and then we were always able to, one or all three of us would step in and say, all right, we got this for now, and now until we can start over with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I really do think like that being in the people business in whatever business you're in is the most important aspect. If you think about it from your team, your clients are obviously people, whether it's business to business and things like that. But the more you grow, the more people serve as your clients, the more referral partners you usually have, the more people you have. And so that's where I kind of look at the role of the CEO as like the better you are with people and managing people and managing yourself, obviously, first to be able to more effectively do that. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. The 20% of roofing versus marketing versus landscaping versus, auto glass, it's all kind of the same stuff. But if you don't get that people part right, you don't have a business. And if you don't get the people part right, you're probably going to have a lot of pissed off customers as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. And then so, um, but you swing and miss, you adjust, you get the right person. I mean, and that's kind of like that. And then when you have the right people, it's you know it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like, and then when you do get the right person, you're like, I see why the last person didn't make it.
Yeah.
Like this person, he or she was supposed to be here. Like there's no doubt.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about that, because like I work with a lot of contractors, a lot of roofers, and people like Kevin and Jonathan, who I know has been around for a while. Like, that's pretty unique, especially in the space where like everybody wants to go hop to the next thing or hop to a different industry. Roofing's not for me. Like, obviously you are an effective leader at managing those people and helping them see themselves in the bigger picture of KayCo Roofing, but there's got to be some things you've learned along the way that just like the industry as a whole doesn't usually do. Am I wrong in saying that though? Or like, I feel like the industry, a lot of people jump from thing to thing to thing.
You know, and they do, especially sales guys, because they can sell anything, so to speak. So they kind of dip in and they dip out. We haven't had that issue really either. So turnover has not been a huge issue for us. I'm not the type of person that wants to pat myself on the back and say, "Oh, it's because I'm this so great." Um, to me, it's like you've hired a grown man, you've hired a grown woman. Um, you know, here are the expectations, and I expect you to be responsible. And I expect you to hold yourself accountable, and I'm not going to babysit. So we have training in place, but I also am a believer in not only allowing you to make the adjustments that you need to make. So in other words, here's the training associated with this end goal, right? You don't have to do it exactly like this. Like, as you learn the process and you want to modify it to fit you, I need to know that so that we can modify, SOPs and things going forward. But I also kind of believe a little bit in baptism by fire, like, and I'm going to give you an example if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So Jonathan went on vacation for a week, and our production department, because we've grown so much this year, we've added sales guys, added more to the production department. We finally got to a point where Jonathan now is not going to be handling the scheduling. So we hired somebody that literally just now sits in front of two screens and watches everything board to board to board. So and watches the jobs go through the entire process. Well, she's been there 3 weeks and he goes on a week vacation. And so she comes into my office and she's like, "Hey, we went," and she's kind of timid, like, "Hey, now I have to go to you. Jonathan's gone. Like, I don't really know you that well." So, and so it's like, well, here's my opinion of it. Here's what I see. Go fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and she kind of looked the very first time. She kind of like, ghost white face, and was like, and I'm like, go fix it. Like, take what you know now versus what I'm asking you to do. What the end goal is, go fix it. And so Jonathan came back today, but yesterday she came to me and she was like, I was really, really scared last week. Wednesday was his first day not there. And she was like, I was really, really nervous. I had to come to you and you were kind of like, this is how we're going to do things a little bit different than he does. And she was like, wow, I really, really appreciated it. And so I really feel like that there's something to, the people here, they want to be a part of something,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's not just hey, we're not just hiring you to bring you in here and give you a couple hours of pay every day and use you for everything we can get and then send you home. Like, you're a part of the process. You're a part of the family, and that's truthfully, and I say family, and that's a really important part of who we are. So same way I brought Jonathan up, I brought Kevin up through. They treat the people that they hire and bring into the business the exact same way. It's a family first. We understand you have kids, you need to go handle something, whatever that is. We don't look for people to make up the time and we ask the people not to. For the longest time, our vacation plan was simply like, hey, you're a grown up. If you feel like you've taken too much time off, you've probably taken too much time off.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's kind of for the longest time. That's exactly what our vacation was.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have it, more documented, and it's set. But for the longest time, that was really it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think like giving, we always want to have the ownership as the CEO of like, hey, we're owning this thing or we're owning the decisions at the end of the day, and it all leads up to that. So we want to have kind of like our recipe on it. But I think like that perfect example of something that someone that you've had around for a while that kind of ran that or runs that department, right? But a new employee coming in and that interaction with also like her experience on where she felt when she came to you with that versus the end result of that, like that's something that will stick with that person forever in terms of like, hey, I helped form this thing and it worked or didn't, like the world didn't end, right? And it's like the utmost confidence booster for a new employee where a lot of times people go and especially if they've worked in corporate America or worked at like a larger corporation where they're like, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, and there's no in between.
100%, 100%. And I just, I don't want to. Again, we don't want to just kind of have robots. Adam, the truth of the matter is when you have the right person and they care about their job.
Yeah.
They ultimately they care about the company being successful. They care about their job. They care about making the right decisions. They're upset with themselves when they make mistakes. And, for somebody that's new, I'm okay with the mistakes in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I just am, it's one of those things that it's like, because I feel like that is, do you see where you messed up there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I think people adjust to that.
Mm-hmm. Love it. So let's end the episode here, kind of talking about the future of KayCo. I know you guys have been building a lot this year in terms of all the different departments and things like that, and working, hand in hand with Dave on a lot of stuff as well. But what are you kind of building towards, and what are you, most excited about what you guys got going on?
So in 2023, just kind of go back for a minute, we had just kind of floated along and we were flat. Our sales were flat for 3 years in a row. And it was really, really frustrating. And I kind of didn't really know where to go. And you can probably remember I called you and I said, hey man, I'm thinking about joining this group. And you were like, I don't know that that's necessarily the right group. I would talk to the guys at WinRate. It changed my life. It really, and I really mean that because it real quickly. So I was having a conversation with Dave before I even joined and was just kind of saying, man, here I am, just like flat. And now I'm frustrated,
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know where to go. And he says, well, man, that for the dollar value that you're doing every year, he goes, think about this. He's like, the reason you're stuck there is because that's who you are.
Mm.
And that was so humbling, man. It was like, because part of me was like, dude, who's he?
Yeah.
So part of me was like, talking to me like that, man, what's that? But then the other part of me like was humbled by that. And it was, him kind of telling me, hey, we need to start kind of from scratch. And we did. So we kind of went right to the beginning, man, like right to core values, mission statement. We just kind of went back and rewrote all of that. And so I think the very first part was it immediately kind of got me out of that frustrated, I don't know what to do, right? To like, man, now I've got some guidance. I'm surrounded by awesome people and, who truly, nobody's picking at you if you don't know what to do, right? So like everybody's there to support.
Yeah.
And it's, and celebrate with you when you win. And it's kind of a group that I've never been a part of in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and a lot of confidence comes along with that. So, since that we've added more people to our production department, added more sales guys. We ended up for the year so far, through October, we're up 49%, which is my understanding from talking to other guys in the industry. That's a pretty big number. I don't think other people saw that kind of growth.
Yeah.
So we're really, really proud of that. But with me stepping up, Jonathan stepped up, Kevin stepped up, like everybody kind of changed. We all kind of said, hey, we're stuck here because that's who we are, and so now everybody's leveled up, and our goal for 25 is to have that same growth. And so we're a little bit ahead on our production department. So our production department fell behind our sales group a little bit. So my response to that was, we're going to expand the production department such that now I can go back and put pressure on the sales guys. Cause I feel like, Adam, that's kind of I feel like that's the easier part.
Yeah. 100%.
Of the two, if that makes any sense. The production side of it, I feel like is difficult because you got to have somebody that understands what they're looking at, understands, the roof components and all those kind of things versus, a sales guy is going to come in and like, hey, you already have it, right? Which is just kind of that ability to speak to people and what have you. I just need to teach you a little bit about roofing. And so this year we're going to add a few more salespeople, and we look to grow at least 40% again this year.
Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for you guys. It's really cool to see. And I can just like sense, even just in all the conversations we've had this year and over the last couple of months, especially, like there is a different feel to you, to Kevin, just everything you guys are doing. And so it's awesome to see and excited for you guys to continue to grow.
Yeah, no, that's the same. I appreciate it. I just one last little story. We had, so since I've been with WinRate, which was starting in January, everything, I was just on the take, like ears open to everybody. You know how that is initially. Like, it's like, man, these guys, anybody that speaks, like I'm listening, I'm in the meetings, and I'm just like, I'm just a little quiet guy sitting in the corner, just like, just taking in as much as I possibly can. And, we had several conversations. And then, and this last month, one of the guys in the group is in Seattle, and he's expanding from remodeling into roofing. And so of all of the options that he had at WinRate for people to go see, we had him here for a week and he rode with our production guys, rode with our sales guys, sat with our office girl. So being able to, 10 months later, give back like that, man, felt unbelievable. Just really was, there's nothing in it for me, like,
yeah,
hey man, we're showing you what we do. Like Dave kind of showed me what he was doing. We modified some of that for what works for us. Now here's what he showed me that I'm showing you, right?
Yeah.
And so you modify that, and he calls one of my guys 3 times a week.
That's awesome.
It does, man. But it just, for me, it just felt really, really good to be able to give back like that, man.
Yeah.
So just to know, like, just to see like how far I have come this year and KayCo has come this year, and to see that other people have seen that and I don't want to say replicate necessarily, but want to use our business as a guide for their business is really, really is kind of like the topper on it for me for the year, like I really felt good about that.
No, that's awesome. And I talk to Mike all the time too. I know he was ecstatic about it and he was raving about it. So it is cool. It is cool to see that, just to see like how you guys have grown, and to see like people are like, man, like they got something different going on there. And like the industry as a whole isn't growing right now. And so for you guys to do that with everything that's going on in the world, it's like, okay, like this is the next evolution of where you guys are at, and just a testament to not only doing the work, but listening to like opportunities to be able to do that after, like you said, like for 3 straight years. It's kind of like we're here, Dave puts that bug in your ear and you're like, kind of stings a little bit, but it's kind of like what I needed to hear.
Absolutely. And so, and then to keep in mind too, all of that was, all of our business is retail. So we don't do door knocking, and we don't handle insurance claims. And so that's kind of one of the things that's, I feel like, is pretty unique for us, because there's a lot of guys in the insurance business that do a lot of work. So we really just try to avoid that. And in fairness, we've been fairly lucky because we've had 2 hurricanes blow through here.
Yep.
One went north, one went north. Well, both of them went kind of north and west, and we really got, one went north and one went south essentially, and left us in the middle.
Yeah.
And so we really didn't have, we have not, like, our 2 markets have not been directly affected. So we really got, which which I like. A, because it keeps the storm chasers out, and B, because it just kind of keeps that regular cycle of roof replacements. So it doesn't kind of knock us off schedule. So we can have, we can budget for next year. We can, look forward to what's coming.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, this has been a great episode. I'm glad we got to do this. I'm excited for other people to hear your story and your everything you've done at KayCo. It's just been awesome, man. And so it's been cool to watch you guys continue to grow. So thanks so much for coming on. This was awesome.
Man, no, thank you for having me, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Looking forward to listening to this one back, getting some other nuggets as well. And we'll talk to you here soon, man. Thank you so much.
Take care, bud. Thank you.
And thank you again to our title sponsor, Go High Level. Without them, we aren't able to produce the quality of content or have amazing guests on like we did today with Clark. Check out a free and extended 30-day trial in the show notes right now. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. We are making a big push for reviews this year, and it definitely helps move the needle. And remember, authority isn't built overnight. It's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.